Sorry, actually. Sorry. Good morning to everybody. Today MMPH 001 again. That is block number 2, is organizational theory and design. So today we have to discuss about block number 2, that is your basics of the organizational structure. So there are two units. There is unit number 4 and unit number 5. In earlier session, we have discussed the unit 1, 2, 3 that we have already discussed in the earlier video. Now, today we have to discuss about the fundamentals of the organizational structure and your factors of affecting the organizational structure. There are two units in the block 2 that we have to discuss. Now, in the block 2, there are two units. That is block unit 4. It will consist of the evolution of the process, then your universal perspectives, organizational design, and the strategy structures, process of the new perspectives of the organizational design, and the restructuring strategies. So now need number 5 is a factor affecting the organizational structures, meaning of the organization, design structure, purposes, and the organizational structure. There are different models are there. And key factors of the affecting of the organizations, design structures, and organizational effectiveness. So all these things are there. So now first we have to clear the concept of the fundamentals of the organizational structure. So modern organizations are open systems. So where it will be interact with the environment, social, political, technical, economic, legal implementation for the organizations. In order to remain the competitive, the organizations respond the pressures exerted by the environmental factors. So that's why the structure is coming in between, because you have to have a structure like this so that it can interact with the other components. So normally the organization respond by the formulating the new business strategies. When the degree of the pressure is high, the changes in strategy is open, necessitate change of organization designs. Here the questions may come when it is necessary for organizational design. So then that time you have to answer it, because this formation is required when the business strategy is required and degree of the pressure is high and changes are required. That time the design is also to be changed. So different authors are defined in different way. It has determined defining the organization design as the total structural elements of the platform and the patterns used by the manager and the overall organization. So organizational design should be seen as a tool of the implementation of the organizational strategies and the alignment and the attainment of the organizational goals. Now, according to the banner of the 1995, he says that studying the structure of the organization means analyzing the following. That is how an organization is put together, who reports to whom, the degree of centralization or the decision-making power concentrated at the top. That all these things are, even in the policies, regulations, everything else should be analyzed. Then process. Now, Howard Simon suggests that an alternative to the principles of the design, we must attempt to understand the decision-making and the communication process, which produce the effect. So here the communication process is also one of the important when you are keeping in view of the making the organization structures. So Allen suggests that there are 7 steps of this. So those are identify the first things you have to identify the major objectives, then organize and establish the scalar changes, authority, responsibility. Then your top to bottom, they are integrating the activities of each foundation, each functions. Then management positions. Then identify the group related works, seek the groupings to ensure that the balance of the distribution of the resources, check whether the span of the control are appropriate or not. So this is the 7 steps of there. Now see the evolutionary process of the organization design. So when the design, there are some steps are there, that stages, different stages are there. The process of development of the accompanied by the corresponding changes in the organization design. That is Barton and the Tago, 1995, they have defined as a birth stage. What is the initial stages, you can say it. This is the stage when the organization is created, the organization is informal. Youth stage, we can say it is a middle stage or maturity stage, you can say it. During the stage, additional employees are employed at the sales and the company. That means it is now growing. The company is now bigger to bigger. So although authority at the fair is centralized, a few trusted employees are involved in the decision-making process because the manager and top manager level, they are in the process of decision-making process. Below that, they are in the front lines. So there are now few professionals and the administrative personnel organizations. So all these stages are in the youth stage. Now, middle stage. By the time of the organization reaches the stages, it has become a somehow successful and grown in size. So if the structure will be like this, so that that all these the stages formations can be cope up the situation. So accordingly, the departmental staff, professionals, clerical staff has to be formulated. It's a large setup of the rules and the procedures. Another thing, the rule and procedures has to be introduced so that work can be done very smoothly. Then maturity stages. During the stage, the organizations become very large and the mechanistics, the set of bureaucratic rules, regulations, policies is prevail at that stage. Decision making is the centralized. Division of the labor is highly refined because the main things are worker levels. They are when company is very big, then full attention should be there in the labor sets. So their work cultures, their work performance should be or productivity can be increased. So that's why some flexible systems will be there. Decentralizations are also required because the for most functioning and for the controlling the things so that the personal interactions will be more, special task force should be there, and definitely on a project teams also. So this is a total your organizational life cycles. So they are now coming to the your universal perspectives of an organizational design. So there are three models are decided, and this is by the Lomas and the Misra 2003. They have formulated, and the practices are like this: the bureaucratic model, the behavioral model, and the contingencies perspectives. So bureaucratic models are, as per the Max Weber, the German socialist, he conceptualized the idea of the bureaucracy central to his work in the development of the concept of the bureaucratic organization's design. According to Weber, and the bureaucracy is defined as the organization founded on a legitimate and the formal system of the authority. So here actually different models are we are discussing here, and different models are applicable for the different companies. So it is a hierarchy level should be there because in the bureaucratic system there are well-defined hierarchy of the authority so that the scalar change comments and can be top to bottom. Means who has to be report to whom. Means that stages are there. Maybe the managing directors, senior managers, and then your managers, deputy manager. This is the way from bottom to top or top to bottom. So this is the way that should be based on the authorities has to be finalized. Now, system rules governing the right and the duties of the employees, even the responsibility are defined. Then promotion and the selection basis of the technical competencies. Then so many aspects are there. So to be considered. Interpersonal relations, all managers should conduct the business in the impersonal manner, maintaining an appropriate social distance from their subordinates. So another aspect are there in the model. There are some drawbacks is also there in the bureaucratic models. The major drawbacks are the model tends to get bogged down with the rules and the regulations because sometimes the file cannot be moved because of the your lot of rules are there and the regulations are there which are clarifying and clarity are more. So that case the chances of bogged down or maybe the delay are expected. So it is not the well suited for the changing in the uncertain external environment. But this type of model are cannot be fit for the when the uncertainty is there or maybe the contingency systems are required, immediate action to be required. That case may not be a very effective model business. So brigade structures can become so rigid and formalized that organizations simply cannot change fast enough to the cope of the external changes. So that's why I'm telling you they have that type of models cannot be 1 day or 2 days, cannot be changed. There are a lot of procedures up there, some rigidity because of the some of the rigidity and fast changes cannot be possible. Now, behavioral models are rather simple because it is based on the human relations, school of management thoughts, classical bureaucratic models are there. Basically, the behavioral model is the purpose of the organizations believe to depend on the human beings, their behaviors, characteristics, and their mutual relationships emerging from the work cultures in the work patterns. So it is the organizational settings where the people can interact and their behavior can be easy and can be very friendly. They can do these things. So that is these models are very effective. And most of the multinational companies they are focused on these models. Important factors which play the significant roles are the needs of the motivations, attitudes, values, leaderships, group behavior, perceptions, the communications, responsibility, and the authority relationships. So, uh, this type of behavioral model are very important. Other way we can see the behavioral models of the organization design reflect the social and psychological implementation of the implications of the organization life. The most popular behavioral models of the organization design that is a socio-economic technical systems theory. That is Likert systems and the approaches things. Likert there are systems 1, 2, 3, 4. So many systems are there. Contingency perspectives, the contingency perspectives on the organization's design is founded on the premise that the best design for any organizations is dependent on a number of situational uh, things. The most critical situational contingency factors are the external environment, technology, and the organizational size. Then contingency organizations can be open systems or closed systems. Better is open systems, but both the things are, if it is a small and the few staffs are there, the closed system is effective. Otherwise, if it is a bigger organizations, then open systems are good for the so that interdependence parts forming a organic whole. Open systems have the permeable boundaries, constantly interact with their external environment. Closed systems have no such transactions with the external environment. They are self-contained, operate independently, and the external environment. So, however, the modern organizations are open systems with the interact with their environment. The objectives of the organizations are derived from the overall strategy of the organizations. It is the natural nature and the organization's design that closely linked with the strategy. So during the significant change in the strategy, the organization design need to be modified and accommodate the support of the changes. So there are considerable empirical evidence to indicate that the choice of the organization strategy is determined by the contingency factors. Now here you see the contingency aspect where the things are there. This is the organization overall strategies. Now it is now what are the inputs, external environment, technology, and the organization size. Finally, it is a organizational design that comes. So that means when you are considering the organizational design as a output, then before that you have to consider the as the input of external technology and the organization size. Then so it is some of the what are the determinants of the contingents are showing as a organizational design. Now strategy. Now strategy basically an organization's strategy describe the organization's goals and the ways of the organizational expects to reach those goals. An organization's strategy may need to change if your changes occurs in the external environment. Now, external environment. any organization is surrounded the general environment and the task environment. There are two environment conditions, general and the task environment. So general environment consists of basically economic, technical, social, culture, political, legal, and international dimensions, which have an impact of the organizational in its task environment. So that tax environment compromises the your customers and competitors of the suppliers and the your government agencies. Now, a stable environment that remains fairly constant over the time. A unstable environment which is subject to change and uncertainty. Through the study of the different organizations operating in these two environments, it is called basically the your mechanistics and the organic organizations. A mechanistic organization is in many respects similar to the Max Weber's bureaucratic organizations or the liquid systems. The organic organizations resembles the behavioral model of the liquid systems for uh, as we know, the liquor system there are one, two, three, four, so many. The four is organizations. It is a general found of the unstable environments. So, due to the frequent changes in the environment, organic organizations adopt the flexibility, non-routine methods, few rules, and the regulations, and then your decentralized authority, and the create autonomous work teams. The work of the Barnes and the Dior was expanded by the two Harvard Business Schools with the research, and their research indicates that as the environment becomes more uncertain, organizations need special conditions, coordination mechanisms, such as the license manager, task force, etc. The team is required. When that situation is very not under the approachable conditions, not in many favorable conditions. Unfavorable conditions, you have to have a good systems. Technology is another. Technology refers to the process by which then the organizations convert the inputs, that is the important people, then your materials, then your equipment, money, plant, and the facilities, etc. These all are technology based. So process by the mechanical and the infrastructure and the manufacturing organizations, bank, hospital, insurance companies are in this way. The process can be largely mental as an organizational and to solve the problems or to create the new ideas, products, and the services, R&D organizations, advertising agencies, software development firms, the example of the. Now, there are some study group, they have studied a lot, defining the technology determinant. And finally, the findings is the study has supported that the technology design link, the following conclusions they have drawn. Unit and the process technologies work better with a smaller span of control and organic structures, whereas the mass productions technologies flourish with a wider spans. Means when the span, as you know, you can control in that way, the span of the control and the bureaucratic structures. So routine technologies features the bureaucratic structures, centralized decision making that uses formal written rules and the procedures to guide decisions. That is for the normal routine parts. Now, organizations that can be complex and the routine technologies have more departments, fewer levels and authority, and more participations, and the decision-making process will be faster. You can say the more routine. You can say it. For such organizations, and the organic structure is appropriate. So, new information technology allows the reciprocal interdependency. Then you are among the parts of the organizations, which in turn flourishes in the organic structures rather than a bureaucratic one. Research tells us that the large organizations have the different structure features than small organizations. Typically, the the small organizations have a little specializations, and the span control, the narrow span control, and the informal decision processes are also simple. But in the large organizations, they tend to elaborate the specializations, many formal written rules, and the procedures in use of the decentralized forms. Then, as for the your multi-parts topology, that it has integrations of the organizational structures, contingency factors provide a clear understanding of the linkages between an organization's business strategy and the organization's designs. So the top management create the very top of the organizations, then the part of the nose are the strategic apex. When the board of directors and the chairmen taking some decisions, these are that is a part of your strategic apex. Middle managers as a follow found the intermediate levels, the bottom of the technical code, which they are otherwise called the operating code. So that is a top level, they are strategic aspect, and the middle management they are in the operating code. Now you see from this diagram what are the topology. There are the basic components. There are 5 components of their basic components. Your technical and professional staffs. Then finally, I can say the top way, that is the strategic aspect. That is your top management. Then your middle management and the technical core, operating core, and they are supported by technical supporting staffs for professional staffs and your administrative support staffs. So this is the way it has functioned. This is the most basic part of the organizations. Now, a simpler structures. Basically, the structure consists of a top management manager and only the few workers. These are simple structures. Now, as per the strategy structures, you see the first generation approaches was organization design because of the complexity and the dynamic nature of the environment. Then, now how it has fit, structurally fit, that has the strategy structure should be linkages to that. Coupled with this, if we add on some of the things, that is in the some of the complex strategic successfully, therefore the second generation of the model of the organization's design have been developed, which focuses on the management process and will make strategic decisions. So first things, your environmental and that complexity, you have to match it dynamic natures. Then finally, you have to have some process, management process. Then after that, it's a balanced designs. Means the second generation models are based on the premise that all the structure forms are not equally effective in implementing the given strategies. And therefore, the role of the management is to create an internally consistent and the balanced designs. Design parameters for the second generation. Here we'll see some of the parameters as given, the structural and the formal coordinated mechanisms, then your system and tools, then your cultural transformations, structural formation and the mechanisms. And this includes basically centralization, formations, and the specializations. The design parameters. Now, centralizations refer to basically or basically where, because centralization is basically in the center, controlled by the center. When the company is very big and big, your so many units are there, it is not possible to control everything in a centralized. So that's why the centralization, decentralization is required. So better way you can control it. So that different upper and lower levels are there, and some chain of commands should be there. Then formalizations, also called the standardizations. Basically, you have some policies, rules, job descriptions, specifications. These all are in the formation stage. Degree of specializations refer to the number of specific tasks and are carried out through separate disciplines. So some specializations, degree of specialization are also needed. Restructuring strategies means whether depending on the needs, you have to restructure the organizations. Plays a very important role when for example, after the COVID-19, now a lot of companies are in a restructuring, designing as their staff, reshuffle the staff, they can recruit the things, they can transfer the things. A lot of part is there. The design, your structural design part. The increase in the specializations, level of the internal differentiations, the role, functions, and divisions, higher skills, multiplicity of the occupations, increased the formal system of the producers, shifting emphasis from the hierarchy and the leader. So all are the part of the restructuring systems. Some features are given. Greater things, particularly in technostructures, support systems, the greater increase in the number of people who supervise the coordinate the activities, and like this. The growing emphasis of the delegation and the decentralizations. There are some factors affecting the organization structures. That is your process of many of the organizations, design and structures, then the purpose of the organizations, then your principle of the good organizational theories of the design, key factors affecting the organizations, and other factors effectiveness. So all other factors are in the unit number 5 discussed. So in the broad together, the organizational design refers to how various parts of the organizations and the distinct elements are brought together. So to make it, it means where the components, what are the things are there, what the parts are there in the organization, how do we can have it together so that it can be performed and productivity can be increased. So design aspects broadly include how the organization is structured, type of numbers of the jobs, process, and so then another key part is their handling and the how to pass the information in communication systems should be robust, produce the results, communicate the informations, plan, and innovative and means R&D or something. So broadly, the organization designed to realize the number of objectives or the organization strategy to support the things so that objectives should be in such a way so that what are the organization strategy it can be support. Then efficient and effective way, effective divisions to provide, then ensure the effective coordinations, and finally your communications. And to permit the effective monitoring and the review, these all are the objectives. We are talking about the objectives. Market, change in the markets, then external environment, how to internal and external to product, how to coping up, basically the coping up the changes. Then the aid of the handling of the crisis and the problems. Then motivate, change, manage, and the keep job satisfactions is also important objectives and management successions so that next manager who will take the charge of the company, CEO and others, the head of the department, that's the succession process. Special areas divided in the specialistic areas, then interlink these your specialized areas need to be interlinked. Then divided levels, few as possible, as far as possible, the level should be less, then it will be more active, effective. Span of control is also to be same. The subordinate directly manage the things. If it is a very huge staff, then definitely control cannot be. Job effectiveness will be less. So that part is also same. Unity of the comment. What are the comment that there should be some unity should be there. Clear role and the add values. Then your another things your centralized or the decentralized. That is also one of the aspect. Depending on the organization's product range or stock or capacity, you have to consider it. Changes in the environment, that the design structure should be such a way that so that it can be help to the changes of the environment. And culture, environment, geography, demography, developments, and the social environment. Then universalistic theory, that is your assumes that there are one best there are two organizations theories are there, universalist and the continuous. Universalist means where it is assumed the best way of the organization, it means maximum organizational performance comes from the maximum instance. Everything you are in maximum. You see the performance should be maximum. Specializations they are also doing maximum. So in this theory are basically universalistic theory are required so that competitive market you can have advanced competitive situations you can tackle it. So universal globally it is accepted. Another, the new human relations, which the claims that the organizational performance is maximized by the maximizing the participants. Means the human capacity to be involved, human health, human psychology, everything has to be seen so that the organizational performance can be maximized. Contingency, in the other way, the theory the core elements are first the association between the contingency of the structures, second the contingency determines, and third is there some level of the organizational structures variable to each level of the contingencies so that it leads to the performance again so that it can be where the misfit leads to lower performance because so fit is very important so that fit performance relationships are very important whether you during the contingency theory and it provides the theoretical explanation of the first 2 points. Then selection of an appropriate design is relevant. However, the primary factors of the often effective organizational designs are basically the bigger in this better models. In the size, environment. In the case of environment, that organizations as open systems need to receive the various inputs from the environment and to sell various outputs to the environment. Therefore, it is important to comprehensive with the environment and in the elements like are likely to be important. Strategy, organizational strategy refers to way of the organization's positions, which set the setting of the relations to its stockholders, given organizations. So means strategy should be such a way so that your organization's profit should be profitable, employees should be happy, profit should be profitable, production should be quality has to be managed. So all these things depends on the how best strategy you are adopting. So basically there are two types of strategies, the popular in the present is generic and the competence based. So there are strategies and the technologies. Now let's see. Customers and that is important because customer satisfaction is important. It may need to have a branch officers, bank and the post office depending on so that you can interact with the customers nicely. If it is only one or two branches, then you cannot be overlooked by the customers' demands or their grievances. So you have to have a more and more branches. Branch officers is also needed so that customers and market can be balanced. Process is also important. The production of process consists of a number of distinct tasks carried out by the people specialization. So during the process, people should be specialized to do the tasks in the different stages of the process. They should be learned, that there should be capacity, that is skilled enough. People in the organization affect the structures in a number of ways. Your structures do not just appear like this. So the structure is also to be affected in the types of the jobs and people within the organizations. The geographical spreading of an organizations is also affected because your raw material, your transportations are also involved because the raw materials and the customers also. Because the geographically your organization organization should be in such a place where the customers are more and the buyer will be more and the raw materials can be easily accessible. Products and the services is also important. Should be services are important because the different product and services are also required. The advantage stages of the the advantage of the product specifications are there. So the structures may be determined by the particular products and the services. Advantage of the product specifications are your that. So it provides a focus on a specific area of the encouragement and the development of the expertise. in the provisions of that product uh, or the services, and it is likely to provide a service that is more responsive to customers' requirements. And then the disadvantage is this: too much focus on the product may overlook the customers' real needs, and it may not make the best of the organization's resources. So this is the one of the disadvantages there, because if you focus on the customers in the product itself, new designs, quality, everything, most of the people are focused on the product because the quality and it is okay, also it is also needed, but you are overlook the customers' real needs. It should not be your own design or strategies only. You have to take some customers' needs also to be required, so that then only it will be fulfilled. So then it may not be make a best use of the organization's resources. So this is one of the design. Most of the companies, they are prioritized. They are doing this for their own systems. They are not marketing, or they are not take the feedback of the customers' needs. Then ultimately the success rate is less. So that's why it is important to don't overlook the customers. Organization effectiveness, here actually the uh, organizations are the constructed to be a most effective and efficient social units. The actual effectiveness of a specific organization is determined by the degree to which the realization of the goals. The efficiency of the organization is measured by the amount of resources used to produce a unit of output. So effectiveness can have a broad meaning that it includes the efficiency, profitability, employee satisfactions, motivations, innovations rate, or we can say the patient well-being. And organizational effectiveness can be defined as the ability of the organizations to attain the goal set by the itself, or by its ability to functions well as a systems, or its ability to satisfy its stockholders. In like this, you see the here different author, different um, uh, time they have different definitions as given. So, but ultimately, the organizational effectives are in a two words: customer satisfactions, product quality, and for the well-being of the employees. Are, the three aspects are very important. Organizational effect is another way. It is an annual, most admired the corporation survey. Fortune magazine applies the. There are 8 effectiveness criteria. There one is the quality of management, quality of products and services, innovativeness, long-term investment value, then your financial soundness, ability to attract, develop, and keep the talented people, responsibility to the community and the environment, wise use of the corporate assets means you can say the optimization of the utilization of the assets. Moreover, the four effective criteria can be used in the various combinations. Now here see where here actually some of the criteria is given. There are 8 effectiveness criteria is given. So all the criteria are very important. But moreover, the four effectiveness criteria can be used various combinations. This is your goal accomplishment, resource acquisitions, internal process, strategic contingencies, your satisfactions. So I can now I can recap the things, some of the things, some of the important area which we have discussed earlier also. So then I can go back to my slides. where you can say uh, here you see the questions, different type of questions can come because the first things on the theory of the organizational designs, key factor of the affecting the organizations. That key factor we have discussed. What are the things, the changes of the environments, structural changes required when the company is bigger or market competitions. So there are all of the factors when you have to required for the designs. Effectiveness we have discussed just now, and then another important part is your focus on your things, your organizational design. So organizational designs are important because there are how much modules are there. These are another things here. Actually, I'm just going back from the top so that it can be recapped. Restructuring strategies. Restructuring strategies basically your techno structures and support systems. Means you have to see your company where it is in the market and how much, not only the profit, survival conditions. Means you have to foresee that your company should run another 5 years, then it should have some technological advancement is also required. Because if you are not considered the some latest technologies, then this is a time to reconsider your advanced technologies and some of the support systems. Here, support services means some information systems to be strengthened and the time of restructuring strategies you have to consider. Number of people who survive the coordinate activities and those who perform basic tasks, the greater increase in the number of people means if the people are should not be overloaded, means you have to put a sufficient number of people to cope up the situations. If you feel the particular tasks or particular projects which is need 10 people, so we have to see that way. Because if the only the 5 people on big projects and where it is required 10 people, then it may be mismatched. Means some of people will be stressed and overload will be there. So greater increase in the number of people who supervise the coordinate activities, because this is the area when you are coordinating the activities, because when the project is started in the initially, that time activities will be more, because when the execution of the product any things, that their coordination is repeated more. If you are during the process activities you are not coordinating in proper way, then what happen? The ultimately in the end results, the performance will not be good, quality will not be good, and maybe a lot of chances of mismatch or mistake, chances of mistakes will be there. Quality cannot be improved. So during the restructuring, you have to be careful about the cultivate activities, because the implementation stage, during the implementation stage are very important. Here actually I can give you some quotes, some of the things. It has been happened globally. The studies has came that most of the companies failure or their project is not at par with the as decided, not reaching the goals by the projected by the top management because of the implementations. Implementation not are good because the project teams initially they have not put the more manpowers, activities are coordinating are not in a better way. That is the time to identify where the loopholes, if the modification is required in the initial stage, you can do it. That is the part of your restructuring strategies. You have to have a see where the actual manpower is required. Maybe after that you can transfer the manpower to other works. This is the way. But sometimes it has happened in the management, top management, they are thinking this job cannot have the maximum people, what are the minimum people are there, they should do this project, but it may not be a good practice because in the initial stage, in the implementations, there are a lot of things are there. In the productions, they are coordinating the things, raw material inputs, lot of things are there. So monitoring and coordinating is very important in the initial stages. After that, it may not be required that much because the when it is run on system is when it is under the systems, the process units are do there as per the their technologies or as per the process systems. So then it may not be very problems. So accordingly, the output will be good and the quality checkings can be easily. Initial stage is very important. So most of the companies they are not investing the money or the your what I can say that is your manpower not properly distributed in the initial stages. So that's why the coordination in the activities in the initial stage is very important, especially in the supervised steps. So this is the one of the point I can elaborate more. Then I can say some of the your centralization and decentralization. Now here the some of the questions may come when the centralized company should be there and when it should be a decentralized. Because when the company when started growing is a one or two units, then it can be centralized, it can be controlled by the top management very easily because they know each other's, maybe few staffs, they can interact, they can coordinate the things. There is no gap should not be there. Means chances of gaps will be less because everybody knows to each others. So that's why it is very effective in the small companies in this for the centralizations. But in case when the company is growing, different unit, the regional units are there, it is growing in a different state, there are different units are established, or maybe in the globally international companies mostly, then you have to decentralize the things, means power or an authority. Every unit should have a HOD, every unit should have a some managing director, chairman. Finally, they have to report to the in the centralized. Means suppose for example Delhi, your corporate centers and different units are in the different states. There are 4 or 5 units are there, or we can say the regional offices. So they are reporting. Every regional office have a some authority. They have a some decision making process should be there. So then it is a we can say it is all decentralized. So authority and power are distributed. So that's why the things. So when it will be required? When the things are bigger. It is may not be possible to control from the particular from the center, from the corporate center. It may not be controlled. But however, the interactions and the informations are always to be flow of information will be there. If any critical cases, definitely the particular regional units are reported to the centers for take their support, take their viewpoints, and they can finally review the things, and central can be given their authentications to the units of this regional units. Okay, go ahead, the decision is good, no problem. Or if any modification is required, they can tell no, this that can be changed. That is the things. So that is the basically the idea of the centralization and decentralization when it is fitted. So during the strategy structures and the process, the management has to decide where this the should be a time has come to decentralized, or okay, if it is no problem, no manpower, no future project is there, then centralized centrally can be controlled. So this is the one of the questions area of the questions are coming like this. Now next is your design parameters. Design parameters. Okay, we have discussed the design parameters where it is structural formations, coordinative. It should be coordinative. Administrative is one of the mechanisms strong enough, and cultures. So during the design parameters, there are three, four things you have to consider it. One is your coordinative mechanisms. Tools and tackle systems should be good enough. Culture transformations are also required because socializations, normative educations are also important. Otherwise, it cannot be a good structures. So that all the component parts overall you have to consider it that yes coordinative mechanisms are good or not, information systems is good or not, cultural transformations are also there, that is it is out there that are not, everything are depends on the policy and the procedures because companies should have a good policies and the procedures and rule and regulations, then it can be happen. It is basically a new perspective on these things. Another things it is not written, then I can say you can add it in the time of exam. You can write it. That is one of the your consistency wellness, well-being beingness, because the human part is also important. After the COVID, every company are focused on this area for the health hazard should not be there, so that that is one of the another parameters for the, so that it should be some health hazards should not be there because doctors some physiotherapists are to be appointed. There is one of the areas where every employee monthly or quarterly should be, their body should be checked up, their health should be checked up. They need not to go to the hospital. There itself, in the within the organizations, they should have some setup and platforms so that they can go there and take some test that can be performed within the organizations. They can call the doctors or some things, and the test can be done so that your employee health can be also considered. So this is also most of the companies are now they have started the like this way. They have to very careful about the especially for the your especially for your manufacturing international companies and the corporate center they have already adapted. So this is the one of the design parameters that to consider it, and it is very needed for the generational organization design models. So I think we have mostly covered up the things, most of the things. Need to, in the next session, I will discuss more about other block number three and other things, and what type of questions are coming in the exam mostly. That part also we have to discuss, and case studies also we can discuss time to time and different cases. Here, one of the things I think I should repeat once again. That is one of the your strategic basic organization structures, where the five parts are there. Basic 5% of the organizations are there. It should be strong enough. Means you have to be very careful about what type of technology it is. It should not be a obsolete technology because if you consider 10 years, 20 years before technology, then it should not. It may be a costly one-time investments. Then you have to foresee the always take the latest state of the art technology to be adopted so that your professional staffs are updated as on date. Don't take then consider the old one. Administrative support staffs definitely here the staff should be qualified and the management background should be there so that they can manage the all the aspect, maybe in the human resource management side or maybe the specialized the things. So that staff should be well qualified. Top management on or required also some of the strategical knowledge should be there. They can should be empowered. They will be empowered with some of the training and development purposes so that they can should also know which are the latest uh, procedures or latest strategies going in the world. Global senses what the things are going on. They are also to be trained this part before taking the strategic aspect. Technical part is also there. There should be technically enough. What are the things productions are going on? They should be technically trained accordingly, or some special training can be there. Then they can also operate the things. Otherwise, basically the skill development. Everywhere the skill development is very required. This part. So these five basic parts. If you strength enough, then you can say our organizations can be a best organizations. So there are five basic parts are very important. So okay, I think most of the things we can discuss. Let's cover up. Okay. So I think okay. Thank you very much because I have covered up all the portions of the block two and also revise some of the areas with the important part. So you further go through the study materials and all these things. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Namaste.